Ladies and gentlemen, the Denver Broncos have an opponent in the NFL playoffs. It's the Buffalo Bills. We're going to talk all about that here just in a second on a quick emergency show. Let's get it. We got an emergency show here on the DNVR Broncos podcast because, of course, we've got an opponent.
An opponent with an N in there.
It is the Buffalo Bills, and what a weekend of football it has been. But we got an emergency show, and who has brought to us this emergency show, Henry?
New Built presents our emergency shows. New Built Construction's awesome. When the home emergency hits, New Built Restoration Construction will be there at nubilt.com or 720-903-4254. Let them know DNVR sent you.
That makes sense why they would sponsor the emergency show.
Right.
Because
That's
are
probably
your
how they
go-to for home emergencies.
That's probably intentional.
The emergency show after like a car crashed into your house would suck.
It sounds like a fun watching Zach just watch us talk.
I'm just here for the show, fellas. I'm loving it. I'm fired up.
Live
Let's
audience.
go.
Let's go, baby. All right, so Broncos, Bills, we assume sometime on Saturday. If I had to guess, I would guess Saturday night. And here's what I'm going to say off rip. The Bills are one of the few remaining teams in the NFL playoffs that deserve respect. They are a team that is not to be messed with. And the Broncos are going to have to bring their A game, especially on the defensive side of the football, if they are going to win this football game. And this kind of like fires me up. I don't know. The Bills are a team that like just gets you going. That's a team that if you want to go to the mountaintop, you want to get through these playoffs, like you got to get through Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills, and that's what the Broncos are going to have to do. They're going to have a chance to get their revenge and show how far they've come from last season when they got shoved in the dirt, to put it nicely, by these Buffalo Bills, and now the Broncos get a chance to at redemption.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's awesome.
Ryan,
there you go. He looked at me.
I'm sorry,
but
Ryan,
this makes more sense for you.
Different.
Yes.
This game is in the Mile High City.
Yep.
And in fact, last time we talked to Sean just 24 or 48 hours ago, he said he was sitting in Buffalo in the cold in that game last year. Broncos lost 31-7. And he said, we need to find a way to get these games at home. And that's exactly what they did, getting the number 1 seed. So now the Buffalo Bills have to come into Denver. The Broncos don't have to travel all the way across the country, play in the damn cold. No, it's going to be 55 degrees and sunny. One of my good friends, Ryan Koenigsberg, says that is perfect football weather, and the
Amen.
Broncos get that in Denver. And Ryan, you are putting respect on the Bills, and I think you're putting it on the wrong place. I'm putting respect on Josh Allen and James Cook, and that is about it with these Buffalo Bills. And now that's majority of the Bills right there, but that's what we've seen from these Bills all season long, and that's what we saw from them earlier today is, man, Josh Allen can ball. James Cook had a tough day today, but the Jacksonville Jaguars were able to do what they wanted to them on the ground, and so I'm excited for this. This is not the same Bills team last year. This is not the same Broncos team last year, but this is an opportunity for the Broncos to get big-time revenge and take out the best remaining quarterback in the NFL playoffs. You do that, you are a legitimate favorite to be the Super Bowl winner.
Yeah. No, I'm curious to see what the line is for the game, because I'd imagine the Broncos are a couple point favorite, but
I'm calling it 2.5 before I look.
Oh, right. The
All
line's
right,
probably
I've
out.
got the lines right now, fellas.
There's Bet365.
I've got the lines over at Bet365. What's our guess?
Oh. Okay.
Broncos are home dogs to the Bills. 1.5 point underdogs over at Bet365. Right now, you can get the Broncos to win at plus 100. I love this. And you know Sean is going to use this as rocket fuel to his team.
Oh, This is the best news ever. So I had Broncos as 2.5-point favorites. The books currently have the Broncos as 1.5-point dogs. And this is the best news. This is the best news that could have happened tonight. This is incredible. Sean Payton is going to play this card. Bo Nix is going to play this card. The overdogs are fucking back. And it's time to ride. Oh, let's go. I love this.
Yeah, I mean, home dogs is kind of crazy. But I mean, nothing can really surprise you when it comes to this stuff, though, because it's Josh Allen. It's maybe the best quarterback in the NFL.
They're helmet scouting.
Right, absolutely. But I think that's what bettors probably are doing, too.
Totally.
And it's the same reason I think people are surprised Indiana wins. And those lines are so close, then Indiana just goes and blows teams out. It's because they're Indiana. And that's the biggest thing that the Bills have going for them is that they are the Bills. And that is a real perk. Like the fact that they've had so many game-winning drives, just magical moments, including in the playoffs, a lot of them in the playoffs. Like there's so many of those things that really help you because it's a new place for the Broncos to be. But yeah, I mean, I think the Broncos are the better football team.
And let's also not forget Josh Allen. Yes, congratulations. You won today. You got your first playoff road win. He's now going to have to go from Jacksonville, which is a cute place to play on the road, to Denver, the Mile High City, where it is the loudest. It is an incredibly difficult environment, and he's going to have to do that and try to get his second road playoff win in Denver. He's 0-4. Entering today in road playoff games. He's 1-4 after today. Guys, this is an incredibly difficult task for Josh Allen to now come and play in Denver.
Yeah, I'm curious. Jacksonville's run defense has obviously been good all year. I think the stat is they haven't given up a 75-yard rusher. But I want to know if this Bills team really is as one-dimensional as they look today, where it basically is like we just have to give the ball to Josh Allen. And when push comes to shove, that's what they do. But up until the fourth quarter, when again, push comes to shove and you just have to give the ball to Josh Allen, they couldn't get anything going. And I doubt they come in and just totally abandon the run game. And I think even it's a pretty good matchup in terms of the passing attack. You know, we talked about the Steelers a little bit earlier in the week. What does Aaron Rodgers do? He just gets the ball out ridiculously quickly. Like less than 2 seconds. Just bang, 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 bang. Josh Allen isn't necessarily that kind of quarterback. And I think that might fit the Broncos a little bit better. I think there's a chance for the pass rush to get after him. And we saw the Jags pass rush get after him today.
Yeah, so it's kind of crazy. Like the Jags only lost this game because Trevor Lawrence threw 2 picks.
Okay, yeah.
That's just what it comes down to. The Jags put up 359 yards of offense on 6.6 yards per play. They had 205 yards in the air, which isn't much, but they had 154 yards on the ground on 6.7 yards per carry. 6.7 yards per carry. That is encouraging for the Broncos to be able to control this game. And I said it the other day when the question was, what does Bo Nix have to do for the Broncos to make a deep run and win a Super Bowl? It's protect the football. If if Trevor Lawrence protects the football today, they're getting at least 3 more points in this game, if not more, and they're going to win the football game. But he throws 2 interceptions. And in my opinion, that costs them the football game. But 6.7 yards per carry, 6.6 yards per pass, 6.6.5 yards per play for the Jags today. You mentioned it all, every time we've talked about potential matchups for this team. Like the Bills defense is not good.
Specifically up front.
That has to be exciting for the Broncos. I think there's a world in which you say like, okay, give me the weaker offense. I think that's just like the general feeling when you watch football. Like better offense is more scary than a better defense. But when you look at this matchup now, it's like, okay, if you can slow down James Cook and you can limit Josh Allen's Superman plays, then your offense should be able to take advantage of this defense. And I watched Josh Allen today. Like Josh Allen is special. There's no 2 ways around it. There's no like sugarcoating it or twisting it or anything like that. Like Josh Allen is special. But that they rely on that so heavily. And I don't think that the Jags capitalized on their opportunities the way they could have today offensively to put them in more difficult positions when they're on offense.
Yeah, and I think the
Right.
big thing is the run game for the Bills just didn't exist. And it makes you wonder what the Bills take away from that, because the Jags defense is really good. Broncos defense is also really good. Like I've said over and over again, I think it's the run defense that it's actually special about this defense. So I don't think that they say like, hey, we just got to play Josh Allen ball the whole game. But I also have a hard time believing that, if James Cook had 15 carries for 46 yards, I don't think they give him 15 carries if they realize after 10 carries that the same thing is happening again. So I think they have decisions to make about, how much do we lean on Josh Allen, who had a really good game, an insanely good game.
28 of 35, 273 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah. And then he's unstoppable on a QB sneak. So that's the other thing is it's basically 1st and 8 every single time that you're up, because if you give them 9, they're picking it up on 4th down. So
although that was their downfall last year.
It was.
When they lost, is they
tried
to rely on that too much and it didn't work.
Yep. The Chiefs were able to stop it. But yeah, I mean, there's some that's kind of the quirk, I think. But then the big question for the Bills is just like, are you willing to run the ball ineffectively as much as you did in this game?
And fellas, you guys bring up some excellent points there. And if the Broncos make them one-dimensional, that is exactly what they have to do. They have to follow the Jacksonville Jaguars formula here by just shutting down James Cook. And how about this? In the first 3 quarters, the Bills had 210 total yards of offense. That's on pace for 280 yards of offense in the entire game. That is a winning formula right there. And the thing is, the Jags aren't a fourth quarter team. They weren't able to get it done in the fourth quarter. The Denver Broncos are a fourth quarter team on offense, on defense. So if the Broncos are able to make them one-dimensional, then this Buffalo Bills team is a team that can absolutely be shut down and very much limited. And the Broncos just can't let Josh Allen go for over 100 passing yards in the fourth quarter. And I don't believe that's going to happen. The Jags are not a playoff experienced team. The Bills are. And so now the Broncos, they've got that experience from last year. They're going to need to use that and use their experience this year in being in the most one-score games in the NFL history this year and coming out on the right side with that. You got Bo Nix, who's cold-blooded. You got those pass rushers that can come off the edge and take down Josh Allen. That's going to be key. So I think that the Jags did a great job of showing us the formula to winning this game. They just messed it up in the fourth quarter, and they messed it up with those 2 turnovers that you talked about from Trevor Lawrence, Ryan. You don't have those 2 interceptions. The Jaguars are winning this game. We're talking about how the Broncos are playing the winner of tomorrow night's game. That's not the case because he threw 2 picks. So Bo's got to be good with the ball, and I expect him to be good with the ball.
Yeah. The Bills is just such an interesting team.
I'm so excited.
Broncos great in the fourth quarter. The Bills might be the best in the fourth quarter. Not necessarily this year, but over the course of like the past few years, when you look around these playoffs, like the Bills are one of the teams where I don't want to come down to the wire because I think they have a good shot because we've seen it over and over again. The Rams, they have the ability to get down the field quickly, those 2-minute drills. But there's a very short list of teams that I don't want to get into, like 3 minutes left. One team's going to score. There's going to be too much time for the other team. I almost feel like the Broncos need this to be a 2-possession game in the fourth quarter to feel good about the coming out, which isn't the thing that I thought I'd be saying about these Broncos.
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel that way, but I know what you're saying. Like, Josh Allen's just one of those quarterbacks where it's okay, you're down 8 with, 90 seconds left.
Yep.
You don't feel safe at all. Obviously, if you're up 8, I mean.
Yeah.
If it's 4th and 13, on their own 40 and they have to convert it to keep the game alive, you still don't feel safe. Like, that's what makes him special, and that's what makes this game and this matchup so intriguing. But at the same time, like, you look at this defense, man, and the way that it matches up against especially the wideouts.
Right.
Like the Broncos run defense, you've been harping on a lot recently, how good it's been over the last, 6 weeks plus. But the pass defense, you're matching this pass defense up against Khalil Shakir, Keon Coleman, who's been like a healthy and active several times this year. Gabe Davis went down today. Yep. He likely will not be a part of this game. Brandon Cooks,
who we had a lot of conversations about. Well, we didn't. We had one really quick conversation about Brandon Cooks when he became available, and the conversation was, "Oh, don't touch that guy."
Yeah, it was just like, we don't need him.
Yeah, absolutely don't need him.
But the Bills did need him.
No,
and he's like plays important plays for them, makes important plays for them because they don't have that threatening of a receiver core. The threat is Josh Allen. The threat is James Cook. And I think that if you can make them one-dimensional in terms of throwing the football, this defense matches up really well. I mean, we haven't even gotten to the pass rush. Like, I think Nick Benito and Jonathan Cooper in this pass rush are as well equipped to chase Josh Allen around for an entire game as anyone.
Yeah. Weird part, of course, is the tight ends. I mean, that's where they have the weapons. And all year, that's worked well for them because the Bills run the ball so well that when they put 2 tight ends on the field, you say, okay, we got to load up and stop the run here, because if we go out there with a nickel, they're just going to run all over us. We're too small. But if you get a Bills team that isn't able to run the ball, you could consider going a little bit lighter, play a little bit more Jahdae Barron, and get those matchups going. I mean, I'm curious to see what Vance Joseph comes up with, because this is a very unique test. Like, if you had played the Chargers, you know exactly what you do. You just play the exact same kind of football you always play. Yeah. Stop the run. Don't give up big plays. Like, make plays in the red zone. Take advantage of any opportunities. Rush. Like, with this, though, it's almost like a different sport playing Josh Allen versus just playing a standard NFL offense.
Yeah, it's like take away the big explosives.
Right.
And then, guys, on the flip side of the ball, while Vance might be like, okay, it's all about Josh Allen here, not the easiest task for Vance this week. For Sean Payton, though, guys, he's loving this matchup because, Ryan, you mentioned the Jags' ability to run the ball on the Bills today. That's not an anomaly. That is because they are a bad run defense. They gave up over 5 yards per carry on the entire season. That was second worst. I believe they gave up the second most rushing yards in the NFL this entire year. And guys, look, Broncos likely not going to have J.K. Dobbins back this week, so it's great to play a poor run defense because having that balance for Bo Nix is going to be huge, and having Bo Nix use his legs is also going to be huge. We could be talking about not just R.J. Harvey having a big game on the ground, but Jaleel as well, and that balance would be huge to not just run the ball, but to keep Josh Allen on the sidelines and have these sustained drives, which we've seen the Broncos do their past couple of games where they're going 8 minutes in 3 different drives against the Kansas City Chiefs. Then they go 14 plays a number of times against the Los Angeles Chargers. That is a key to beating Josh Allen, to beating any good quarterback, but especially a one-dimensional Josh Allen. Keep him on the sidelines here.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest question for the Broncos in the playoffs. Can they run the football? Because when they had J.K. Dobbins, they could run the football. And ever since then, it's been pretty hit or miss with a lot more misses than hits. This is an opportunity where you should be able to run the ball. And if you get J.K. back, then all of a sudden, if you get J.K. back, you should be a touchdown favorite in this game.
Is that a real thing that we're talking about, J.K. being back for this game?
I don't think so. I think we're talking about it for the AFC Championship game. Now, maybe something happens. But also, guys, one of the maybe disadvantages, the Broncos have one less day to get JK back because they're playing on a Saturday. But guys, the schedule makers are helping the Broncos out so much. The Bills coming off of a physical game against the Jags. They have to fly across the country down to Jacksonville. Now they have to fly back to Buffalo, and now they have a short week. So the Broncos have 13 days from their final game until this game. The Jags have 6, and the Jags are probably just getting back to Buffalo right about now. They're going to have to fly out Friday morning to get to Denver for this game. This is a lot to ask for the Buffalo Bills, while the Broncos are going to be completely rested and get a couple of players back too.
Yep, and I'm glad you brought that up because Josh Allen was taking so many hits today. Like, he was limping around. He was slow to get up. He's not, you wouldn't think, going to be at his best. Like, who knows how big the difference is between where he's at and what he could be. But having a beat-up quarterback coming into Denver on a short week I love that.
Absolutely. I mean, he hurt his hand. He hurt his leg. Mm-hmm. There was a time in the game, like, he twisted his leg to a point where I thought he wasn't going to come back.
Went into the tent.
Yes.
Yes.
So, yeah, he is certainly not going to be 100%. And that's kind of the price you pay when you use him as a battering ram, like they often do. And then, of course, the hand thing is just kind of a cost of doing business injury for quarterbacks. That just happens. It was an unfortunate time for him. He still did throw the ball just fine after that. But who knows what swelling could do, all of that stuff. And I think that shows the advantage of the Denver Broncos having a bye week this week. I'm curious how the Broncos ranked the Bills in terms of what they thought was the most likely matchup for themselves. I feel like they would have chosen either the Bills or the Chargers. I don't think they would have thought it would have come all the way down to Texans, Steelers. And even if they did, they would have known that they had an extra day to prepare for that. So I'm guessing the Broncos spent either the most time on the Bills, the most time to the Chargers, or split that time, knowing that if both favorites won today, they would have just spent all of tonight and tomorrow on those two teams.
Well, when you think about it like if you thought the Chargers had a 40% chance of winning, then there's a 40% chance you play the Chargers. There's 60% left. If you call the Bills-Jags game a toss-up, then it's 30% for Bills. You'd say 40% Chargers, 30% Bills, 30% winner of the other game. So 15 each or whatever. So yeah, I would imagine they did. Yeah. If we could do that in about 30 seconds, I bet they did it.
That the Chargers are an absolute fucking joke.
They might not have said 40%.
And didn't spend any time on
what did Tony Jefferson say?
Disaster of a franchise.
I had forgotten Tony Jefferson's name, and now I remember again. What did he say about the Broncos?
Who?
The little talky guy, mic'd up guy.
Oh, he said the Broncos suck and that he doesn't respect them at all.
Oh.
Shout out to my homie JL Skinner.
Yes, except JL Skinner.
Yeah, he can respect the Broncos from his couch in Cancun this week.
He can. Do you think Patriots fans, so they'll have their own matchup, obviously. Do you think they want to see the Bills or the Broncos win?
They want the Broncos.
You think so?
I love it.
Then they have to go to Denver.
Oh, that is true.
Yeah. Do they want the home game against the Bills or the road game against the Broncos?
I think they want the home game.
I think so too. I'm curious.
Doesn't matter.
I would think they'd want the home game, but yeah, they don't get a say in that, guys. And really quick, some insight on some things you guys were talking about. Sean Payton today spent his day inside the Broncos building with the games on in the background, watching them unfold. And I think it unfolded perfectly for the Broncos because the Bills, obviously, I think Sean, once he saw the Bills win, he probably knew the Chargers weren't going to be able to get it done. So my guess is he turned all of his attention to the Bills and then got an extra 7-hour jump on the Bills. And then let's say the Chargers had won, then that would have been 7 wasted hours or 7 hours that he would have pushed to next week. But he didn't have to worry about it. There was no wasted time there. So he got a day jump on the Bills. And again, the Bills are just getting back into Buffalo right now. So they can't even get a start on the Broncos. And then they're going to be flying on Friday. And then another thing, we heard Alex Singleton come on our show last week and say he doesn't care who the Broncos play. They're ready for any team. I did some digging. I texted many people in the organization over the past 72 hours or so to try to get a feeling like, hey, I'm not going to say your name, but just give me a feeling about who you want. Every single one of them said, we don't care. We're not afraid of any of them. We can take care of business against any of these guys. So they really did not care in the building. And I would say personally that if you take Josh Allen out of the equation, the Bills are the team that every team probably wanted to face. Now you have to put Josh Allen in that. Obviously, he's a major factor, but that just shows you that it really is like Josh Allen, James Cook, and then not much else. So it's all about slowing down Josh Allen here and containing him and not letting him be special. And that's why you absolutely have to have respect for Josh Allen. But man, it's an entire Broncos team going up against just a couple of guys with that Buffalo team.
Let me ask you guys this. We're going to get out of here in a few seconds because we have a whole week to discuss this matchup. The Broncos have been known to deploy a anti-QB scramble type of pass rush, a cage rush, as they call it, which is, essentially don't let the quarterback break the pocket, collapse him in there. And then, of course, they have the ability to just pin their ears back and go. What would you rather see them do this week? And that's the real challenge when you face Josh Allen is like, if you let him sit back there, he's going to throw darts. But if you let him scramble, he has a chance of, slinging a sidearm pass 60 yards down the field for a touchdown.
Yeah, I mean, the big plays are when he breaks the pocket, more often than not. I think it's all about the blitzers. I think it's a big game for the linebackers. I think with your 4 guys on any 1st and 10, you have to keep them in the pocket. That's what's most important. And if you can keep in the pocket and collapse the pocket like the Jags were able to do a bunch of times, that's great. If you're able to beat your guy late.
Zach Allen. Such a big Zach Allen game. He could really cement a
Right.
legacy in this game.
But I think the kicker is you send your linebackers. I think it's a big day for those blitzes up the middle, and that's where you can kind of get the pressure. If you can cage them in, and then you get Singleton or Sternad or Greenlaw. Sometimes we forget Greenlaw blitzing one way or the other. I think that is the opportunity. And then you start playing those other. So like you see Singleton blitz back-to-back times. The next time you drop him when he's up there, it just makes the quarterback think a bit. But I think cage him in first, send the blitzers though.
I like that, because then if you obey the cage and you are able to get pressure up the middle, then he's going to have to try to escape, and you should have a Nick Benito or a John Cooper waiting for him.
And then third downs, you just send 6 and chase him. I think like that's third and long. You gotta go get him.
I completely agree with Henry on everything he said there. And especially with that third down point, your secondary is better than their receivers. Right. And you just have to make sure their tight ends can do some stuff. So you just have to make sure you have a plan for them. It's going to be a big Talanoa Hufanga game in terms of covering that. But you do have to cage him in here. Look, the Jags only sacked him once. So they were trying to cage him in. You just cannot let Josh Allen get loose there. So I agree with Henry. It's going to be a big cage rush game for the Broncos. Man, if you're able to get to him, get the ball out. One turnover here from Josh Allen would be massive for these Broncos. And Henry mentioned it. Dre Greenlaw will be back this week, but that still means, or I still fully believe that Justin Sternad is going to get playing time here. And he is one of the best blitzing inside linebackers. So that could be a huge play for the Broncos this week.
By the way, boys, I just realized this. There are 0 teams left in the playoffs that have beat the Denver Broncos this year.
It's true.
The Colts are gone, the Chargers are gone, and the Jags are gone.
Let's go.
Interesting. Interesting. All right, we have an entire week to discuss this matchup. We'll obviously delve a lot deeper into it. We'll get into position by position throughout the week. We'll get into everything. We'll be grinding film, just like the Broncos, on the Buffalo Bills to make sure that we have the best possible coverage for you all. So if you're new here, just a reminder that we'll be here tomorrow morning. I mean, in a matter of hours. Right around
13 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
12, 13 hours from now, we will be live with you again, discussing this with Benny Fowler. We'll get the inside scoop, and we'll be with you all week. We appreciate you guys. Thank you for chiming in with us, Zach. Thank you, Yaya, for producing. Thank you, Henry, for hanging out with me tonight. And thank you to New Built for presenting our emergency pods. Broncos, Bills, Saturday. Let's get it.